Hello, my wonderful students. You're welcome to another class with Mr. Olukorede. I'm excited that you guys are here for today's class. All right. Okay, before we commence the class, I want you to invite your friends. Yes, let them know the class is about starting. And don't forget to get your writing materials ready. Okay. As you are joining the class, ensure you say hi to everyone. And don't forget to tap the like button. So today we are going to be looking at some questions on the mensuration. Okay, so we are going to be focusing on plane shapes. All right. Okay, so before we continue, let's wait for a few seconds for those that are yet to join. So kindly inform others that the class is about starting. Thank you very much. All right. Yes, we are going to begin now. All right. Before we swing into action, if you are new on this channel, don't forget to tap the like button and to subscribe to this channel. Okay. So once you love what we are doing here, all right, so you subscribe for notification. All right. Okay. So let's look at the problem we have here. Now, the question says the length and width of a rectangle are in the ratio 5:3 if the perimeter is 80 centimeter. Find Roman numeral 1, the width, Roman numeral 2, the length of a diagonal to 3 significant figure, and the last one, the area of the rectangle. So how do we go about this? Now, look at it. Now, let's sketch the diagram. So we have a rectangle of this form. Okay, so this is the length and this is the breadth. All right. So now the question says the length and the width or the breadth of a rectangle are in the ratio 5:3. So that means that L over B, that is L ratio B, is the same thing as 5/3. Okay, so here you can make L to be subject to the formula. So we have 3L equals to 5B when you cross multiply. Okay, so we have L to be equals to 5B over 3. Okay, so now we have the length to be this, while the breadth or the width is B. Now, but when you look at the question, we are given that the perimeter is 80 centimeter. All right, so I need to quickly recall the formula for calculating perimeter of a rectangle. That is the addition of all the sides. So, and that is the same thing as perimeter of a rectangle equals to 2 times L plus B, length plus width. Okay, so now the perimeter is 80. So let's plug in the value. So we have 80 equals to 2. Now the length, you have gotten the length. That is 5B over 3 plus the breadth. Okay, so here we can divide both sides by 2. Okay, so when you do that, you have 80 over 2 equals to. So now let's find a way of adding this. So the LCM here is 3. 3 goes in 3, that's 1. We have 5b. This is over 1. 1 goes in 3, that is 3. 3 times b, that's 3b. Okay, so we have 40 equals to 8b. 8b. So when you add 5b and 3b, you have 8b over 3. So what do we do next? We cross multiply. We have 8b equals to 40 times 3. So we have b equals to 40 times 3 over 8. When you divide both sides by 8, so this is what you have. So now 8 goes here 1, 8 goes here is what? Is 5. So that means b is going to be 5 times 3. Okay, and that gives you what? 15 centimeter. So we have the width to be 15 centimeter. Okay, so what is going to be the length? Look at the length here. So all we just need to do is just to plug in the value of b into this so that we get the length. So we have this to be what? To be 15. So we now have L equals to 5 times 15 over 3. Okay, so we have L equals to 3 goes there 1, 3 goes there 5. So that will be 5 times 5, we have 25 centimeter. Okay, so here now we have the length to be 25 centimeter, while the width is 15 centimeter. Okay, so that's the first task. We have gotten that. So we have gotten the width. Now, the next is you have to find the length of a diagonal to 3 significant figures. So the length of a diagonal, so this is a rectangle. A diagonal is a line that goes in this direction. Okay, so we want to get this. Now don't forget that angles in rectangle are right angles. Okay, this is right angle, right angle, right angle, right angle. Okay, so now I want to get this length. How do we get this length? Let's call this A, B, and C. You can see we now have triangle ABC. So we can make use of Pythagoras theorem to get AC. So AC in this case now is your hypotenuse. That is the side that is facing the right angle. All right. So we make use of Pythagoras theorem. This side is 25, while this side is 15. So let's quickly do that and get the diagonal. So we have our diagonal AC square equals to AB square plus BC square. You understand that in triangle ABC. All right. So now we have AC square equals to, now AB is 25. So we have 25 square plus BC, that is 15. We have 15 square. All right. So we have AC square equals to 25 square is 625 plus 15 square 225. Okay, so we have AC square. Now let us add, that's 850. Okay, so here you take square root of both sides. So we have AC equals to square root of 850. And your AC now would be what? What is going to be the square root of 550? So if you have the answer, can you punch that and tell me what the answer is going to be now? So you do that and drop that in the comment section. So if you have the answer, let me see. So that shows we are working together. Anyone with the answer to that? Okay. Yes, Shotayo, what is the answer to that? What is square root of 850? Square root of 850. Yes. All right. So I expect you to have your uh, calculator close to you. All right. So if you are doing it, now this is what you're supposed to have. Square root of 850 is 29.15. 29.1547 centimeter. Okay. All right. So this is what we have as AC, and that is the diagonal. AC is the diagonal. But look at what the question says. Now, the length of the diagonal to three significant figures. So we have to correct this to three significant figures. Now, the first significant digit here is 2. So we just count 3 digits. So you count 1, 2, 3. So this is what you are writing out. But then, before you go, ensure that the next digit is not up to 5. If it's up to 5, you have to increase the last count by 1. So since this is up to 5 now, so this now, AC, the diagonal is going to be 29.2 centimeter is to 3 SF. So that's the answer to that. So here we have 29.2 centimeter. So that is the answer to that. So now what is the next thing to do here? All right, so you have to find the area of the rectangle. Okay, so let's get that area. So the area of the rectangle. Okay, can I just give you like 30 seconds to attempt to it? I think everybody should be able to do that. The area of the rectangle, since you now know the dimension. So if you have the answer, you can drop that in the comment section. Area of the rectangle. It should not take you any time to do. Okay, so what is the area? Yes, is anybody giving us the answer? Okay, I can see an answer. Divine has dropped an answer. That is 375 centimeters square. Okay. Any other person with another answer? Anyone? Okay, now let's work with Divine's answer. 375. Okay, so let's see how do you arrive there. So we have area of rectangle is length times breadth. We have length times breadth or length times width. That is, your length is 25 while the breadth is. So when you multiply, you have 375 centimeter square. So make sure you pay attention to units. Okay, so area is measured in unit square. All right, so I hope we all understand that. Okay, so that's the end of the question. So let's move down to another question. All right, so before I write the question out, the question is going to be on the circle. Now, when you have a circle of this form, and we have a center, which is the middle of the circle. Now, we have a radius. Now, what do we call radius? Radius is the shortest distance between the center of the circle, it's a circle hole, and any part of the circumference of the circle. Okay, so or a straight line from the center of the circle to any part of the circumference. That is what we call the radius. So now, this is the perimeter of a circle. What is the formula for finding perimeter of a circle? So perimeter of a circle is 2 pi r. This is the formula for finding perimeter of a circle. So the total distance now here is 2 pi r. Now, I'm taking us to a particular place. Now, that is an arc, length of an arc. Now, an arc is a fraction of circumference of the circle. Now, that is, you cut out of the total length that describes the circle. All right, so now let me cut this out. Okay, so this is an arc. Now, this arc is called minor arc, and the leftover is called the major arc. So how do we get the length? Since it's a fraction of the total perimeter of the circle, so we now say length of arc is going to be theta over 360. It's also a fraction of the total angle here times 2 pi r. All right. So now this is the formula for finding length of an arc. So you don't need to cram the formula. Just understand how the formula is being derived. So we just need a fraction of the whole perimeter of the circle. So this formula now is what we're going to be making use now. Okay, so you can put this one down somewhere in your jotter. All right, so let's move down to the next question. Okay, now let's look at this question. Now the question asks us that we should find the length of an arc. That's what the question is asking for. Don't forget, we already know the formula for finding length of an arc. So let's see what is given. So an arc subtends an angle 60 degrees at the center of the circle of radius 14 centimeter. All right, so can we describe that in diagram? So we have an arc, which is a fraction of the complete circumference of the circle. Okay, so it subtends an angle at the center of the circle. Let's say this is the center O of the circle. So this arc subtends 60 degrees at the center. The length of the arc I want to get is AAP. So I want to get this length. So, and we have been given the radius. What is the radius? The radius is 14 centimeters. So now what we need to write out now is the formula. The length of an arc is 360 times 2 pi r. Okay, so now we have L equals to 60 over 360 times 2 times 22 over 7, which is a pi, okay, and times r. R is 14. Okay, can we simplify this? We have length. Now 60 goes there 1, 60 goes there is 6. All right, so 7 goes there 1, 7 goes there 2. Okay, so here we have 2 goes here 3, 2 goes here 1. All right, so what we are left with now is L equals to 2 times 22 over 3 times 1. And this is the same thing as 44 over 3. So L will be 3 goes in 4 is 1. Remainder 1. So 3 goes in 14. That is 4. Remainder 2 over 3 in centimeters. So the length of this arc is 14 whole number 2 over 3 or 14.7 centimeters. Okay, so that's what we have. All right, I hope you all understand that. So it's simple as what we have here. So now, can we move down to another one? In terms of pi, what is the length of an arc? Which subtends an angle of 30 degrees at the center. A circle of radius. Okay. Now this is another question. It's a Waec question. So let's see, how do we solve this problem? So it's just like the one we just finished now. Okay, can I just give you like a minute if you can make an attempt? So you drop your answer in the comment section. Let's see what you can do. In few seconds now, in terms of pi, what is the length of an arc which subtend an angle 30 degrees at the center of the circle of radius 3.5 centimeters? So can you do that in a few seconds? All right, so once you have the answer to that, you can drop it in the comment section. Let's see those that will give us the answer to that problem. All right, anyone? Okay, I can see Victor Adam. Okay, Adama. All right, so I hope I'm correct. Okay, so yes, if you have the answer to that question, you can drop it in the comment section. Let's see. All right. I hope you're already solving the problem. So by the time I get my answer, you can just oppose that with yours. All right. The question says in terms of pi, what is the length of an arc? So I want to get length of an arc. So what comes to mind is formula for finding length of an arc. Length of an arc is a fraction of perimeter of a circle. So I'll have length of an arc is theta over 360 times 2 pi r. This is the perimeter of a circle. All right. So take note of that. Okay. But now, there's one special thing about this question. You may solve this question and get the correct answer, and you will still end up failing it. So whenever you are reading questions, you pay attention to details. Now look at what the question says in terms of pi. So that means don't turn your pi to 22 over 7 or 3.142. Make sure you leave it in pi. So if you do not leave it in pi, that means your answer will be wrong, because what the examiner wants from you is that the answer should be in terms of what? Pi. All right. So let us now see how we are to solve this. So we have L equals to now theta over 360. So theta is the angle subtended by the arc, and that's 30. So we have 30 over 360. All right. Times 2 times pi times, now the radius is given to the what? That's 3 whole number 1 over 2. Okay, so before we finish that, has anybody gotten the answer? All right, I've not seen anyone. Okay, all right, Divine, I've dropped an answer. So I think I can see 3.5 pi. Is it over 6? Okay, now let's see. All right, so here you have, now can we simplify this? Now this cancel this. Now 3 goes here, 1, 3 goes here, 12. Okay, so that means we have 12 here. All right, so 2 goes here is 6, 2 goes here 1. Okay, so now means L will be pi times, this is 7 over 2, because 2 times 3 is 6 plus 1, that's 7. Okay, so that's 7. Okay, 6 times 2. I hope you understand that. This is 7 over 2. That's what we have. And here we have pi and the 6. All right, let's see. What do we have next? So this now turns to 7 pi over 12 in centimeter. Okay, so this is going to be the answer. All right, so this is the answer to that problem. So I hope you all understand. So any question based on what we have done, any reservation, please kindly drop that in the comment section. Let's see if this is what you are expected to do. All right. Now let's move down to another question. Let's move down to another question. All right. This is another question. So let me just give you a minute to examine this question. So if you can solve the problem within a minute, so you can drop your answer in the comment section. What angle does an arc 5.5 centimeter in length subtends at the center of a circle of diameter 7 centimeter? Okay, of diameter 7 centimeter. All right, so if you have answer to that, yeah, drop your answer in the comment section. If you have an answer to that, okay, you can drop that in the comment section. All right. Okay, yes. While you are doing that, so you can just compare with what I'm going to have here. So the question says that what angle does an arc 5.5 centimeter in length subtends at the center of a circle of diameter 7 centimeters? So that means we have an arc of this form which subtends an angle at the center O subtends an angle. So we don't know the angle, so we can represent that with a theta. So the length of this arc at AB is 5.5 centimeter. All right. So and we are not given the radius, so we need to get the radius. Now radius is half of a diameter. Look at it. If you have a circle of this form, you know, and we have a diameter like this. This is radius. The line from the center of the circle to the circumference. This is also radius here. Center of the circle to the circumference. So, and this is the diameter. So that means radius is half diameter. All right. So in this case now we have our r to be half of 7 centimeters. So now we are going to be making use of length of an arc to get this angle here. So we have length of arc equals to theta over 360 times 2 pi r. Okay, this length of arc has been given, so we are not looking for this. So that is 5.5 equals to theta over 360 times 2 times 22 over 7, which represents our pi, okay, times 7 over 2, and that is the radius. Okay, now let's try and simplify. Okay, 2 goes here 1, 2 goes here 1, 7 goes here 1, 7 goes here 1. Now 2 goes here is 11, 2 goes here is 180. Okay, so now let us write this in fraction. So this is 55 over 10 is the same thing as 5.5. And that is the same thing as what? When you divide this by 5, you have 11. divide this by 5, you have 2. So I can simply write 11 over 2. That's the same thing as 5.5 equals to, now we have theta times 11 over 180 times 1 times 1. So that's what we have. So what do we do next? We cross multiply. So let's cross multiply. So when you do that, you have theta times 11, okay, times 2 equals to 11 times 180. Okay, so now I'm looking for theta. So I'll divide both sides by the coefficient of theta, and that is 11 times 2. So this will come here. So I have theta to be equals to 11 times 180 divided by 11 times 2. So this will cancel this. 2 goes there 1, 2 goes there 90. So therefore, theta equals to 90 degrees. So the angle subtended at the center of the circle, right, is 90 degrees. Now you need to pay attention to something. Now look at it. My answer is not just 90. If you write 90 and you fail to put degree, you're going to miss points because that is the unit of angle. Okay, so you have to put degrees. All right, so that is the answer to the problem. So any question, any observation, any comments based on what we have done before we move down to the next thing. So if you have any question based on that, so let me know. Okay. Adama, you're saying, okay, I don't really understand. Which side precisely do you want me to emphasize on? So I should know which side precisely. Okay, thank you, Uncle J. All right, thank you. So let me know where you want me to put emphasis on. So if you have any questions, so you specify where you want me to explain. All right. Now let's move down to another thing. Now, we want to begin to solve questions under perimeter of a sector. So we must understand what a sector is. All right, so now let's look at it. Perimeter of sector. Now, if you have a circle, center O, and we have two radii like this. Okay, now this region is what we call a sector, and it is called minor sector. This other side is called a sector as well, and it is called major sector. Okay, so now a sector is bounded by two radii and an arc. Now look at this one. You have, let me bring out this minor sector, you see. So I'm bringing it out. So once I bring it out, so it looks like this. Okay, so this is a sector, minor sector. And you can see it's bounded by 2 radii. So we have R, R. And this is an arc, minor arc. So length. So now the perimeter of this sector now is going to be 2 radii plus the length of arc. That gives us perimeter of the sector. And that is what we want to do now. So I hope you all understand that. Okay, so let us look at some questions on the perimeter of a sector. Now, the perimeter of a sector is 34 centimeters. The radius is 7 centimeters. Find the angle. Find the angle of the sector in degree. Okay, so can you see this question? Now let's look at it. The perimeter of a sector is 34 centimeters. The radius is 7 centimeters. Find the angle of the sector in degrees. Okay, so we have a sector of this form. Okay, there's an angle here subtended by this arc. The radius is 7. We have this to be 7. Okay. The length of arc is this. We don't even know that yet. All right. So, and the question asks us to find this angle here. All right. So we don't need to stress ourselves too much because we know that perimeter equals to 2 radii plus length of an arc. 2 radii and plus length of an arc. So now let us plug in the values that we have. Now we have the perimeter. The perimeter is 34. So let's plug in 34 here. We have 34 equals to 2 times, what is the radius? That's 7. We have 7 plus, this is length of an arc. All right, so I hope you still remember the formula for finding length of an arc. That is theta over 360 times 2 pi r. Okay, all right, so here we have 34 equals to 14 plus theta over 360 times 2 times 22 over 7 times 7. Okay, so now this goes here, 7 goes in 7, we have 1, 1. Okay, so now 2 goes here 1, 2 goes here 180, 2 goes here 90, 2 goes here 11. All right, so now don't forget you cannot merge these together. So let's transpose this 14 to this side. So once it comes to this side, the sign changes to negative. So we have 34 minus 14. That is equals to, now we have theta times 1 times 11. So we have 11 theta over 90. Okay, so now when you subtract this, so we have 20 equals to 11 theta over 90. So here you can cross multiply. So you have 11 theta equals to 20 times 90. and you have theta equals to, now when you multiply this together, that's 180 over 11. Okay, so and you also divide both sides by 11, right? So now you have theta to be equals to, so what do you have? 11 goes in 118, that is 1, it remains 7. Now you put that 7 in front of 0, so 11 goes in 70, that is 6. So it remains what? It remains 6. Is it 6? That is 4, sorry. So, and then you put 0 at the back. All right, so 11 goes in 40, that is 3. Okay, so it remains 7, right? So we have 7, so put 0 at the back. So 11 goes in it, so we have 6, and so on. All right, so our answer now is going to be approximately theta will be equals to 16.4 degrees. So that's going to be the answer to that problem. All right, so any question, any observation based on this? So you can drop that in the comment section. Let's see. Is there any question, any observation? All right, okay. Yes, I can see that someone is calling my attention to this. So it should be 1,800. Okay, thank you for that. So that means we have it this way, 3.6. That gives you 163. Okay, so and that will be 4 anyway. 3SF. So in degrees. So that's what we have. Okay, so thank you for that. So that's the answer to the problem. All right. Any other question? Any other observation based on what we have there? Okay. All right. Thank you, Uncle J. Thank you, Divine. All right. Okay. And Victor, thank you. All right. Okay. So can we move on? Do we all understand? Okay. All right. Divine, thank you. So now let's look at another question. An arc is 3/8 of the circumference of a circle of radius 28 centimeter. Okay. Now find the length of the arc to the angle subtended and center 3 the perimeter of the major circle. Okay, here's another question. Can we read the question and let's find a way to get the answer to that problem. Now, an arc is 3/8 of the circumference of a circle of radius 28 centimeter. Now, you have to find the length of the arc. Okay. Now, the angle subtended at the center and the perimeter of the major sector. Okay. So now, how do we go about this? Now, we have been given that the arc is 3/8, okay, of the circumference of a circle. Now, what comes to mind is, what is circumference of a circle? What is the length of circumference of a circle? That is 2 pi r. Okay, so now have arc. The arc now, or I say length of arc. Okay, length of arc is going to be 3/8 of, that is times 2 pi r. I hope you get that, and that's what the question is talking about. So we have this to be 3/8 times 2 times 22/7 times, now the radius is given to be 28, so we have to be 28. Okay. So now let's try and simplify this. Now 7 goes here 1, 7 goes here is 4. Okay. So what else? 2 goes here is 4, 2 goes here 1, 2 goes here is, or let's say 4 goes here 1, 4 goes here 1. So we are left with 3 and 22, 1. So that means our answer is going to be 66 centimeters. So that is the length of the arc. I hope you understand that. So this is the length of the arc. All right. So the next question is this. So we have the answer to this to be 66 centimeters. Now, the angle subtended at the center. What is the angle subtended at the center by this arc? By this arc. Okay, so let's get that. Since we already know the length of the arc now, to be 66, so we have, let's write out the formula. We have theta over 360 times 2 pi r. So, okay, so we already have it to be 66. We have 66 equals to theta over 360 times 2 times 22/7 times r. So r is 28. Okay, 7 goes there 1, 7 goes there 4. Okay, so 2 goes there is what? 180. 2 goes there 1. 2 goes there is 90. And 2 goes there is 11. Now 2 goes there is 45. 2 goes there is 2. Okay, so now we are left with 66 equals to, now we have theta times 11 times 2. That is 22 theta. Okay, everything over 45. We have 45. So here you can cross multiply. So we have 22 theta equals to 66 times 45. So you can divide both sides by 22. We have theta equals to 66 times 45 over 22. So we have theta equals to, now 22 goes here 1, 22 goes here is 3. So that means we have 3 times 45, and theta will be 135 degrees. So that's what we have. Okay, so I hope we all understand that. So that is the angle subtended at the center. So we have this to be 135 degrees. Okay, now let's look at the last one here. The question asks you to find the perimeter of the major sector. Perimeter of the major sector. Now, we are looking for the perimeter of the major sector and not the minor. You know, we already have the length of the minor arc to be 66. Okay, so now let's get the length of the arc, the length of the major arc. Now, to get the length of the major arc, there are several ways to get the answer. But don't forget, this is the fraction of the minor arc. So to get that of the major arc, so we now have length of major arc. That is going to be 1 minus 3 over 8 times 2 pi r. Okay, I hope you understand that. So that is what you are going to have for that. So, and this is going to give you, when you subtract, you'll be having 5 over 8 times 2 times 22 over 7 times your r, that's 28. That has been given in the question. Radius 28, pi is 22 over 7 is this. So, all right, so here now you have 7 goes here 1, 7 goes here 4. So 4 goes here 1, 4 goes here is 2. Okay, so 2 goes here 1, 2 goes here 1. All right, so now what we are left with now is 5 times 22. Okay, so, and that is what? So that is 110. That is 110 in centimeter. Okay, so now getting that, we want to get the perimeter. Now the perimeter now is going to be the length of the arc, of the major arc, plus the 2 radii. Do you understand that now? Okay, so because it looks like this. Okay. So this is the radius. And the length of this major arc has been gotten to be what? 110 centimeters. So we add these 2 radii to it. That gives us the perimeter. That is the boundary of the major, the length of the boundary of the major sector. Okay, so now, so this gives us what? So perimeter of major sector is the 2 radii, that is 2 times 28 plus 110. Okay, so that is going to give you 56 plus 110 degrees. And that gives you 166 centimeter. Okay, so that is what we have for the perimeter of the major sector. All right, so I hope you all understand that. Any question based on what you have just done? Any observation based on what you have just done? All right, so if there's no question, no observation, so on this note, I'm going to stop here for today. So tomorrow is another day. So don't forget, if you are new on this channel, ensure you click on the notification button if you want this type of class again. And don't forget to tap the like button if you love what we are doing here. All right, so students, I want you to enjoy yourself and keep on practicing. The more you practice, the better you become. So thank you for watching. Bye bye.